everybody, it's Robbie, and welcome to Miscellaneous Candor. Frank, honest, and otherwise outspoken. Today, it is me. Steven's not with us on this episode. This is going to be a mini pod because I'm just not one to be able to talk for like 30 minutes all by myself. I'll probably do 5 or 10, so we'll see how long this lasts, but 30 minutes I definitely can't do. Steven is ill. He will return, which means there is a high likelihood if you are listening to this mini pod, that means there's going to be another episode this week because I will be taping with Steven. Just got to give him some time to get better. So I'm going to combine something, our conversations that we've been talking about around kind of our personal journeys and things that are on just our minds as humans and interacting with people, along with a new, not a really new podcast, but a podcast that I listen to. So I was looking at some of the top podcasts that are out there, and I ran across Mel Robbins' podcast. So you may or may not know who that is, but evidently she's like 1 and 2 with Joe Rogan. You all know I listen to Joe Rogan a lot. I got to catch back up on Joe Rogan. There's been some pretty good episodes, and I need to get back in there. But I listened to this Mel Robbins episode, and I thought it was pretty interesting, particularly given that today is two things. Today is federal holiday, Martin Luther King Day, people call it MLK Day. You know, it's a holiday, but also, too, it's the inauguration of our next president, Donald J. Trump, who is going to be the 47th president, and now is the 47th president of the United States of America. And people are always talking about the vision and things that have happened. And some people did not watch the inauguration. Some people watched part of it. I was busy today. I didn't really catch a lot of it. I know Steven probably did. Even though he was sick, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about it. We all know how it feels. But when I was listening to this, I was thinking about this day, and I was thinking about not only just in life, this perspective, but I was thinking about it in terms of how we're always talking about how divided people are and how distant people are. But thinking about what Mel is talking about, I think actually gets us to a better place, and maybe to a place where we can, for lack of a better term, agree to disagree when it comes to politics and a lot of other things in life, and still move forward. So I'm going to play this, and I want to talk about it a little bit too. All right, here we go.
So if you're exhausted by worrying about other people, or if you're tired of constantly feeling misunderstood, or if you feel like you're trapped in this prison of self-criticism, you're so hard on yourself, our conversation today will set you free. I'm going to teach you a revolutionary new approach to life. Let people have negative thoughts about you. Your power is never in what someone else thinks. Your power is in what you think about yourself. Today, you're going to learn how to use the let them theory to let people have their opinions and focus on living your life in a way that makes you proud of yourself.
So, I think we talk about this, and I think that this is a really great episode, a really good podcast episode. I will definitely link it in here so you can listen to the specific episode. But she talks about someone else that she's talking with who struggles and has struggled with this all of her life. And then she also, too, goes deeper. She gets some, professional opinions around the let them theory. But the idea of letting somebody think something negative about you and not letting it affect you, I think is needed, particularly not just in a conversation where people feel differently about politics, but specifically with how we interact online and how we talk to and engage online. I've been off of Instagram since the beginning of January. And to say that I don't feel different would definitely be a lie. I do. I feel a lot more grounded. I feel um, lighter in the sense that I don't feel as if I'm so caught up in what's going on there. I realize that even if I wasn't engaging in negativity, what I would see in my feed or constantly getting videos and things from other people, depending on what it was, I would get riled up. And then that would take that in, I would take that with me into my day. What is going on with this microphone? Okay, we're going to do some things over here. Move this. Hopefully this will make it better. Okay. Um, I would get riled up, and I don't feel like that anymore. And people could be saying negative things about me. In fact, kind of had a rough week last week, and I responded with one thing based upon how I felt about myself. And, hope it went well. Could go another way. Not sure. But what I do realize is that in that moment, I was feeling, well, I kind of had weird feelings. Like I was going back and forth where I kind of was thinking about what the person felt, but then I also too was like, well, I can't control it, which is what she was talking about. And I want to get to that point where I'm always thinking that, but not in a negative way. Now, what she didn't say in what I played was that it's also too important to, yeah, you're going to care about what people feel. And if you're a decent human being, you kind of should. You want to be respectful, you want to be kind. So she's not saying be an asshole and just don't care and I don't give a F and all that. And she talks about how when people even say I don't give a F, they actually do, which I agree with. I subscribe to that. Um, but I think that you don't let it control you. You don't let the idea that somebody could be saying something negative about you create a space where you recreate who you are to try to change that, because you can't. And we know that fundamentally. Like, none of this is rocket science. We know that. But to really get to a place where, as she says, you can let them and let it go, I think gives you a spirit of courage and freedom that maybe you don't always have if you're constantly trying to figure that out. So I think you can relate it to when you're on social media. I think it might even help in terms of how we interact on there. I also too, I mean, maybe I'm just being naive, but even in this conversation with regard to politics, I think one of the things I'm most concerned about, and this goes on both sides, I'm concerned about just the vitriol and the divisions that's going to happen. I think I want to hope for the best and that things are going to not be chaotic, but there's so much around that where it can gin it up and make it seem like it can cause for people to be like that. And I don't want to see that. Not just for me personally and the people I love, but for the country. I just don't want to see that. Definitely, I know we'll have this conversation again when Stephen comes in, because I'm sure he's gonna have something extreme to say. But I'm interested in what you all think about the leptin theory and what that means to you. Um, yeah. Also, too, I just in terms of AI, I was reading a newsletter recently, not a podcast, but a newsletter about AI, and it was really interesting. It was about a group of people who are founders and investors, and they were looking at AI, and they're testing like all these tools out there, but they were testing tools looking at people who have been really successful in their businesses and have a certain net worth, and getting their feedback on it and kind of doing this large reach kind. I wouldn't call it a hackathon, but like a huge sort of QA testing of successful business people, because these are business people who are testing this, and they're testing it to see what would be the top 3 AI tools that they would use to make their lives easier. And they also said they feel the need to ensure that while these tools are going to augment them and change things, um, they are going to use them in a way that does not try to replace, a lot of the people that work with them on these deals and do things. So I thought that was interesting for people who are multimillionaires, because a lot of times we're talking about how people who have a lot of money just want to get rid of everybody who has a job with AI. And this was a different take on that. So that's one. Number two, um, they said a lot of the tools were crap, which is true. For example, they were talking about a tool that they used that was supposed to create a pitch deck and a slide presentation. It was supposed to be great. And I will tell you, I have used some of these AI tools to try to create a deck or a slide presentation faster, and it's crap. I mean, it'll punch out a slide or punch out the information for you to put on the slide. But in terms of design and what you can do and how you can lay things out and all of that, they do things, but then sometimes even the design or the aesthetic that they create does not flow with the theme or the story that you're trying to tell. So while it may look pretty, it may not make sense in terms of the digital assets or the way that you're trying to design it in relation to what the story is that you're telling. So there's definitely some time that needs to be spent on those tools in particular. But I thought that was interesting. It's a great newsletter. At least that particular one. I saw it on LinkedIn. If I can give you the link, I will do that too. But again, I'm going to cut it short. This was a mini pod. It's just me. And of course, we miss Steven. Definitely, we got to get some more guests on here, so we're going to do that soon. Look for a new website coming. Not soon, but it's coming. And we're also on Blue Sky, everybody. You can follow us on Blue Sky. We're still building up our Instagram presence, but we are on Blue Sky, and we'll try to post episodes on there too. But if you're on there, definitely say something to us, get back to us, etc. I think we're going to go on, I don't know. Steven probably wants to go on X. I'm indifferent, but I'm sure he just wants to just because. So, we're still building out the social media presence. I think for us right now, the most important thing is for us to be consistent on the podcast and to continue with you. We definitely have been increasing our views in terms of download. So thank you for listening and keep listening. And I am trying to work with Apple to see where my reviews are, because evidently there are more than a few reviews that we've gotten. So we want to see that as well. So keep following us, keep giving reviews. Definitely, when we have our website and email address, we will look forward to your feedback. And that's it for this mini pod of this week. So see you soon and look forward to talking to you later in the week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.